It don't really matter. Let's fire for Bo.
Yeah, you
Fire
got
for Bo, Shacker.
Give me. Yeah, I want one.
I smoke about 10 joints every day. I enjoy getting high. I don't do it because my friends do. I just like getting high and like the feeling, and I'm more cheerful and I laugh, and it's just, I don't know. I enjoy it.
Well, I started using pot in the 9th grade. A couple friends got me high for once, and I liked it, and I started getting into it. My parents, the first time that they found out that I was spending so much money on it, that was their concern, the money that I was spending on it. Being high is really hard to explain. It makes me feel good, yeah. Like going out with my friends, living it up. It's basically a way just to live it up. Just take it as it comes. I just buy it, smoke it, and nothing comes out of it except ashes.
I was around 11 years old, and it started with my cousin. She was around, 15 at that time, and she introduced me and my other cousin around my age to a joint. And, just say, wow, what is this? And they showed us how to hit a joint, we're saying, okay, and we got high.
Well, really, the first time I smoked, I was about 8 years old. But, it was when I first tried it. And I'd say I started, smoking it, on a regular basis about the age of 10.
One night, Rodney came in, and he went straight to his room, and he was 11, I guess. And, and I went in there, and I said, Rodney, because he usually, he'll stop and talk to me. And so I went in there, and his eyes were just all, and I knew that he'd been smoking.
National surveys are now showing that 11% of seniors in our high schools are getting stoned or drunk, which is a better term, every single day. We did a survey last year that showed 30 to 70% of high school students are getting stoned 3 to 5 times a week. That's a lot of marijuana use.
It really got popular with my age group, and I went to my first party when I was 12, and I had a ball. And I just kept on going to parties. And finally, around when I was 13, I got into high school, and I started to find out where to get it, who to buy it from, who the dealers were. And it was like a big family, of drug users.
Young people like Regina usually are in experimental stage of life. They want to try out new things. The problem that we're seeing more and more is in the places where they have recreation, like the parks, in places like schoolyards. There are more people who are, making marijuana available to them. And out of curiosity, more of them are trying it. And they're trying it because it's available, it's relatively inexpensive, and it's supposed to be fun. And every young person wants to do something for fun. So they'll try it. Sure, why not?
I used to get high on the bus a lot coming to school, and get to school, hang in the front, and go get high again. There's nothing else better to do sometimes.
In the morning, if you'd meet a friend before school and get high, it just made the day. You looked forward to it a little more.
When I first started smoking, it was like
I was really conscious of just what I was doing, and all of my friends were getting high, and it was a lot of peer pressure.
I did it because, I thought I could be with his gang, be older than what I was.
When I first get up, I smoke a joint because I get higher easier, in the morning when I first wake up because my body hadn't started going,
It was, I guess, peer pressure. I never wanted to admit that, but as I think about it, I think it was.
Yeah, 90% of them use every day. It's, what I know. And the other 10% go to school, good little kids, and I'm one of them now.
Well, most of them find that life, just everyday going to school and whatever, is pretty boring. And for them, it's a kick, using marijuana makes them high, makes things funny, makes their dull lives exciting. And many of them don't know how to deal with their boredom, so they find that using marijuana is one way of being, it's entertaining. They can laugh at things that weren't funny before. They enjoy things better. That's what they think.
Yeah, I could say that I would get into the music more. It's not really a hard drug that totally alters your mind. It doesn't make you stumble and it doesn't make you slur your words. It's not all that different from being straight, Being high doesn't affect my performance. You're just more relaxed and you're more into what you're doing.
It's a euphoric thing, and it's the best way to listen to music, if not the only way to listen to music.
You can hear every sound, just every little tone of music you can hear, and it just, your body just moves to it, to the sounds, and it's weird. You think you can do things better. Think your conversation's better. I really know what I'm talking about when I'm high, And it sounds stupid, but that's really the way people think.
Now, I found I could do most of the work, and I really enjoyed the work when I was high. But I couldn't really read as well when I was high. But I could do math and all that really well. I found that I liked it a lot. It was fun.
The marijuana user has a kind of delusion where he feels that marijuana is not affecting him, or if it's affecting him, it's making him a better person, a more sensitive person, a more intuitive person, a more laid-back person, a kinder person, a more intelligent person. In fact, when we test that, whether it's at the wheel or at the keyboard or at tests in school, it doesn't work out. They, in fact, perform much worse.
I just know more when I'm high because, I can think better. Because my head just feels good and I can write down some answers. Sometimes they're right.
When I go into class high, I won't do my work, or I'll go home and then I'll get high and then I can do it, in a snap. It's just easy then.
Before school, sometimes I smoke pot, and sometimes I don't. But, when I'm in school, I can think clearly. It might not be, real pot, it might not be real quick, but I can think clearly, I think.
This is the worst year Rodney has ever had at school. He has always been a really good student. And, I know how smart he is, and I've always been told that he's a really good student. But this year, he made like 3 Ds on his report card. And he goofs off.
There would be things that I could do when I was high. I'd do things like I'd draw diagrams that were really explicit and they would tell 1,000 words instead of writing it all down. There's some things like art and woodshop can really be creative when you're high.
Well, maybe make
I like to be high and do my artwork because I'm more comfortable and I see my work, differently. You're more creative, definitely. I feel more creative, more relaxed. I could deal with people more and better.
So you're almost done?
Yeah.
Are you going to put a title
No,
on
I'm not almost done. Look at how much I've got to do.
it? Well,
That is going to be
you're going
incredible.
you're going to outline every one of these?
Every little thing.
But what about here? Don't you want to let that just go?
When you talk with the teachers, and as the principal, when I go in and talk with them, what we find is that the performance starts to go down. In math class, they can't grasp the concepts. They seem to be tripping out on you. In English class, their writing ability and their ability to comprehend it. And now when you talk about, you know, an art project or music, the loss of interest. The whole thing seems to be get out and get with your friends and get a joint and get high. You see the grades start to drop from A, B, C, and you find a lot of failure.
As a school psychologist, I view the problem here as a fairly large one. You know, when I see kids who are very alienated, very low energy, missing a lot of classes, there's a syndrome that develops, you know, that you can pretty soon recognize as, oh, I bet this kid is heavily into pot. They don't care about classes. They don't care very much about anything except rapping with their friends. They usually meet after school, rap, smoke a joint or two, and it makes them feel that whatever they're doing when they're under the influence, that it's a lot better than it really is. So it takes away a certain amount of pain that adolescents must feel in terms of not being able to accomplish, not being able to measure up.
You know, I thought maybe I was just putting so much pressure on him. And I said, Rodney, you know, are you trying to escape from me or, you know, your family life? Is it so bad? And he says, no. He said, I love you. And he said, I just love everything. And he does. The child is, you know, I don't know.
Our culture tells kids in many different ways that it's okay to get high and it's okay to get super high. We have head shops that are selling paraphernalia in great numbers. It's now a $600 million a year operation. We have the rock stars who are saying that you can use anything you want and you don't have to pay any dues. We have a whole literature of magazines that are saying you can get high, that are even giving you sendaways where you can get the formulas and learn how to make drugs. Our culture is giving a big message that getting high is okay.
Your actions are sometimes slower and you'll laugh at yourself. You'll say, wow, I tripped over that, you know, how could I miss that? And you just start laughing. And when you start laughing, you just can't stop, you know, and you think it's so funny. And in reality, it's not. And reality is dull and boring and true. And who wants something dull and boring?
They don't know what's real, what's really going on. They don't enjoy life. They don't enjoy life unless they're high. And therefore, they don't learn how to make themselves happy. But the reality is they don't remember very much of what happens to them. They stop doing certain things, like they probably cut down on a certain amount of activities. They don't see other friends. They don't do physical activities. Sports drop off. Certain things that, other kinds of fun things they could be doing, they start to do it less. They stop communication with some of their friends, the ones in the squares. They stop communication with their parents. They get themselves cut off, and then they find themselves alone. Then they're left in a position where they can be picked up by people that maybe they would have never, ever been with. But now that they're in this situation, you know, those are the only people left to be friends with.
We got a little place down by the school, a little walkway called Steps. You can go there, and usually a couple people there. And, you know, if they got a joint, and I might have a joint, we'll match them, you know. They smoke theirs with me, and I smoke mine, you know, we just get higher. And then, you know, just go to school, and just usually go through the school day. And then after school, we might go down to the Steps again, you know, smoke some more, and then, you know, go home and eat supper. And then, you know, after supper, I usually go back out and party some more.
There's no better example of impairment of motor function than we have with driving an automobile or operating complicated machinery. The sadness is that many a kid feels that he drives better. The term that's often used is, I get into my driving more. But when that's tested, either in an automobile or in a laboratory situation that simulates road conditions, there is a deterioration of function.
I'd much rather be high if I'm driving than I'm driving, you know. There's, being high doesn't, you know, affect my driving ability whatsoever. It's, you know, I can, some people say, like, your depth perception will be, you know, altered. Mine isn't.
There is a loss of vision, especially peripheral vision. There is a loss of memory, and there's a loss of judgment, so that it may show up in the following way. A driver proceeding home who's stoned may respond perfectly well to a stoplight, to a stop sign, to a familiar turn. But if something unfamiliar and unexpected happens, a child or an animal, very significant loss of function. There's a tremendous amount of new material that is coming out in the last several years about how hormonal function is affected. We're talking about levels of sex hormones, testosterone in men, estrogen in women, growth hormone, its effect on the pituitary. Now that's serious stuff, and to take that lightly makes no sense in my opinion. We need to be very cautious about that. Further, we have evidence that marijuana is retained for a long time in the body. If we were to have a shot or several shots of liquor right now, in 24 hours, our system would eliminate all of the alcohol and there would be no traces in the body. If I were to have a joint of marijuana now, in 30 days, we could still detect traces of the active ingredient, THC, in my system. Now, that means that the regular user is likely to have a cumulative effect. If we add that then to hormonal changes and effects on certain cellular function, we may have long-range effects that no one has even dreamed of yet.
Kids generally like to take the pro-marijuana side, and they tend to go for that research, that information that says marijuana is not harmful, or marijuana is less harmful than alcohol or less harmful than cigarettes, that kind of information. Whereas anything that would say the opposite of that, they don't like to deal with that.
I just do it and ignore the other things, I guess. I ignore the things that people say that'll hurt you and all this other stuff.
Yeah, it is bad for you. I don't know, it's just, it makes you lose your memory, that's all I know.
I've just about heard it all. I mean, you know, I've had people try to, you know, my mom just tried to, you know, tell me things that scare me, but I've, you know, I don't really, you know, not much scares me about it.
I'm not really worried about what people have told me or what I've heard, read, you know, so far, but my mind might change later on in the years. But so far, I don't think I'm gonna quit. Not for a while, a long while.
I think, you know, if you're not really sure about something, you should find out for yourself. And I've been smoking it now for, you know, on a regular basis for about 4 or 5 years. And, you know, I'm leading a pretty good life. There ain't nothing the matter with me.
There's no place in the United States today that you can go that marijuana is not available. And not only is it available, but it's cheap. So that if a kid wants to have a single joint or a few joints, it's very easy for he or she, along with friends, to have it in a regular way.
Well, I just, you know, call up the dealer or, you know, get in touch with him and ask them if they got any to sell. And if they did, you know, I'd set it up and meet them somewhere or go to their house or something.
$40?
Yeah,
I have no problem. I go to my dealers. I have probably about 12 or 13 of them. One of those guys is got to have it.
What do you think? I'm not, I'm not. Go for it.
Yeah. All right. You got how much? 20? There you go.
Ounce usually costs about $35. So, just regular marijuana. And it just costs $35. And a half bag, which is a half an ounce, costs $17.50. It's not really hard. I mean, everything in life costs you a little bit. I mean, to get a car costs, you work up to save money to buy a car. I just save money to buy pot.
Hey, where can I pick up a joint, or where can I pick up a sack? Oh, over here, over there. So-and-so ran out, so you have to go to so-and-so. There's usually a main dealer where all the small dealers at the schools go to.
Very often as we focus on what happens to the marijuana user, we sort of put the magnifying glass on that person, and we forget all of the other people in his or her life that are affected. For example, family interactions are greatly affected. If a kid becomes secretive, guilty, angry, tense, there can be a significant disruption in the quality of family life.
Well, when I first noticed it, she was acting really bored all the time, and seemed like she just had to be on the go all the time. And I thought there was something strange about it, but I never thought it was marijuana, or anything like that. I just thought that she was just bored with life, but why, I didn't know. When Gina's grades started going down and skipping classes and stuff like that, well, I didn't know what it was. I think if I had known this, then I could have said, hey, she's on marijuana. Maybe I could have done something right away, because I just didn't know what it was. And I think if parents would learn these things, they could see the difference in their child.
Parents can get together, they can form support groups. And I'm talking about forming support groups in their neighborhood to use the resources that are available to them. There are parents within every community who share similar kinds of problems.
That's the other part of the egg, isn't it?
There was really a denial period. We really didn't accept the fact and take steps, right? Any real hard steps at that time.
10 hours a week again next week. Offer you had? I guess that was my biggest problem. I was shocked. Like, not Gina, not my sweet little girl, I tried to talk to her, asking her what's wrong. And she was missing a lot of school, too. And I just kept trying to find out why, what have I done wrong?
I'm just going to look at it.
My mother gave up on me, and that hurt, although I was using heavily. That hurt, and, I realized my family's going to be the only one that's with me for the rest of my life, and these people out on the streets could give a damn about me.
I never can agree with the fact that you can be a buddy to your child. You're still the parent, but I think you should be a good listener. I think young people like adults who listen, but still are strong enough to have some conviction, to have an opinion on something. They like direction. I think young people want a friendly listener, but they also want an adult to take some kind of stance. When you say, I'm your friend and it doesn't matter to me what you do, they usually don't respect you. They like for you to have an opinion. They like for you to give them an alternative. If not this, what?
Well, there's a word I really like, and as a principal I use it too, is tough love. The person who really loves a child but knows how to be an adult and give leadership. The most effective thing is to show them love, be able to express affection, but also to show them direction.
Talk, communicate with your young person. Don't yell and cry and get upset and say, oh, why are you doing this to me? Everybody would say, oh, why are you doing this to me? Those young people are doing it to themselves.
Parents have to understand that they do have power, that they have power to change their situation. They have power within themselves to deal with the problems that they're facing. But parents can't deal with their problems until they get to the point where they say, okay, I've had enough. What can we do let's do something.
If you could just get your children and just, you know, have maybe twice a week group sessions, you know, with the parents and the children, and you know, just talk, and maybe you could find out maybe there is a problem that's causing these children to, you know, just get high and you know, do all these things.
I have a parent group, a parent support group I go to, and most of their kids was in the same situation. They all had the same problem. They don't know where it went wrong or what to do about it. And then we got this parent group together, and we meet every Monday, and we talk about these things. And it's easier now for me.
When a parents group forms, or when parents begin to examine this, they get all kinds of new information. That information arms them so that they can take a stand. They are further positioned by having company and companionship into feeling that they're not alone.
I'll probably smoke until I'm in my 40s or 50s. I mean, you know, I might not ever quit smoking, you know. From viewpoint now, I don't think I'll ever quit.
The parent has to say that I care enough about you that I don't want you to endanger your health. I'm not going to sit back and allow you to injure yourself and to get stoned in a regular way as you grow up.
You're not going to win this in an arm wrestle. You're going to win it because ultimately you care about your child. You want him to care about himself. You want him to respect himself and have good feelings about himself and be thoughtful about his body. And your love for him is what is going to convince him. You have to operate from a position of feeling that you have a right to do that you have a right to take a position, that you don't have to back off and leave it to someone else.